What is up, guys? Kurt is back here. It's been a couple days since we put the starter in and compression tested it. Don't have an engine hoist here yet, but I'm gonna do some real quick stuff and get just a few things prepped for that. So today we're actually gonna pull the starter back out of it. I'm gonna pull the spark plugs out of it, get the transmission split from the engine again, and then like oil feed line for the turbo. Other miscellaneous stuff will get ready. Get the car back off the jack stands onto the ground, so then that way the engine's, well, the car is nice and low, so the crane doesn't have to lift as high. Pull the engine out, so it's a pretty short video, just taking some stuff off, and then hopefully we get that engine hoist here soon. We can get on the engine stand and then start tearing into it. I'm pretty excited for that. I'm really excited to dive into the motor of this thing. I think it's going to be mostly good from what I see in there. If I don't just buy a kit, I can piece together a kit and save costs depending on condition of obviously the side seals, the apex seals, corner seals, oil control rings, the bearings, this and that. So yeah, the next hopefully week we'll be diving into this one. So super excited on that. And then also organized the garage. Obviously slides over in the corner. Dirt bike got pushed out a little bit more. This thing, not too sure where exactly is the best placement for it in the garage, because I'm gonna have the table set up here for the engine rebuild. But the bike I do want to dive into soon, because this will be, obviously as parts come in for this, there's gonna be some durations or some time between videos, because basically everything probably will be coming from the States. So being able to dive into this would be a cool filler project and good for us to have in the middle. Was trying to think, maybe I stage it up here. I don't know, the biggest garage is 25 feet by 25 feet. Up on this side here in front of the window, the plan kind of was a standing toolbox somewhere in this area. I like having couches in my garage. At least a couch is a good hangout lounge spot, and then obviously I need a adult beverage fridge somewhere in the area, so I don't want to put the bike there and then be upset that I don't have the space, but we'll figure that out as we go. But let's dive into this. Yeah, let's get the starter out and a few other things done. So as I mentioned in actually the last video, one thing I try to make sure I do is bag and tag everything. There's nothing worse than, I'm guilty of it. There's a box down here full of parts off this car. A lot of them are labeled from way back in the day, but there are still bolts in there that I don't know if I remember where they came from. So I got engine trans, 4 bolts total. Made sure I put paint markers on the head so I know which hole they came out of, because none of them are the same size, and that way I can just toss them in there. I'll also put the inspection plate in one. The whole turbo oil feed line I will not label, because I obviously know what that is, but I will take these bolts off, put them in a bag and label them. Did notice I am missing a crush washer for this banjo bolt, so that's something I'll have to order and see if I can find local stock somewhere near to me. It shouldn't be too bad to find. All the transmission, engine bolts out, all 4 of them. It kind of surprised me there was only 4. I pulled a few transmissions out of other cars, or a few engines out of other cars, splitting the transmission. You always find more than just 4, so that was a bit of a surprise to me, but got the inspection plate off. I'm going to leave it off. Obviously, the turbo oil feed line. There isn't too much more I really think I'm going to pull off of the motor while it's in the car. I mean, it's already pretty well a bare keg. The rest of it will be once it's out on an engine stand and getting disassembled. Obviously, I didn't want to tie up my floor jack. It's for the transmission, so my clever ways, just a ratchet strap holding it up. And I think that should be good. So I'm gonna bag these few things, tag them, throw them in storage, and then until I get an engine hoist here, again, gonna hold myself to it. That's gonna be soon. There won't be much going on with the car. Like there is some chassis work, so with the chassis work, obviously we gotta rebuild the engine, gotta do some brake stuff. The original owner of the car actually cut out this passenger brake line, so way back when I bent up a new one, gotta flare the ends on it, gotta redo the brakes. Looking at the bushings for the lower control arms, they're pretty crispy down there, so all the bushings on the car will also be done. New rotors, pads. Body wise, body isn't terrible by any means. I don't plan on painting the car anytime soon once it's running. We do have some spots where we're getting a little bit of flaking. They also had a Bondo job there, you can tell. I think the only other area, we got some paint doing some funny stuff, and then a little bit of bubbling here, but nothing too terrible. I'm a little upset somehow. My license plate bracket did get chipped there. It was not chipped like that when I put it in storage, but things happen when they sit for 6 years in a field, so can't be too upset about it. I knew what I was doing when I put it in there. I knew the repercussions of that. Nothing's gonna come out perfect after 6 years in a field. So yeah, I'll see you guys on the next video.